Hello students and welcome back to our class. In our last two videos, we've discussed the first two topics under sexual self. Ano ba yun? First one we have is physical development, and then we've discussed what turns you on or what turns people on or the different sexual response or the sexual response cycle. Okay? So in this video naman, we will discuss the third topic under the sexual self. So our third topic is sexual orientation and gender identity, which is an important topic under sexual self. And for you to understand yourself, importante rin for you to understand ano ba yung sexual orientation mo, ano ba yung gender identity mo. Kasi perhaps you're not aware of this, okay? And yung misconception is that, I don't know if you're familiar with Soji Bill, okay? Na yung Soji Bill is just for gays and lesbian or members of the LGBTQ community. But in reality, it applies to every one of us. Okay? Kasi lahat tayo may sexual orientation, lahat tayo may gender identity. Pero bago tayo mag-proceed with the differences between sexual orientation and gender identity, it is important for us to differentiate first ano yung pinagkaiba ng sex and gender. And hopefully, you are aware of this already. So, sana, ano na lang to, i-recap, okay, or clarification, para we are on the same level, okay? Nagkakaintindihan tayo pag sinabi nating sex, pag sinabi nating gender. Kasi in reality, sa atin, sa Pilipinas, we use it, hindi lang sa Pilipinas. In the whole world, we use this interchangeably. Ano ibig sabihin ng interchangeably? Pinagpapalit lang natin yung sex and gender. Okay? And most of the time, we put gender, for example, sa attendance sheet, when we actually mean sex. Okay? So, magkaiba sila. Ano yung differences? Simulan natin. Sex versus gender. Sex muna. When we talk about sex, we're talking about physical attributes or body characteristics, notably sex organ which are distinct in majority of individuals. So, ibig sabihin, when we talk about sex, ang basis nito is our body or physical attributes or body characteristics. At ano yung pinag-uusapan natin dito? Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is our genitals. Okay? Ano yung meron ka? The penis or the vagina? Yun yung basis. Okay? So, yun yung basis ng sex. On the other hand, when we talk about gender, we are talking about composite attitudes and behavior of men and women. Ano ba ang expected? Ano ba yung mga actions or attitudes or roles na ina-expect of men and women? Pag babae ka, dapat ganito. Pag lalaki ka, dapat ganito. Yun yung gender. So when we say sex, it's male and female. Okay? So if you have a penis, you're a male. If you have a vagina, you're a female. As simple as that. On the other hand, sa gender, ang basis natin dito is masculinity and femininity. Okay? So, masculinity, what is expected of men? Okay, meron nga tayong tinatawag na toxic masculinity. Okay, kung saan medyo toxic na yung ina-expect out of men. Na ang lalaki, bawal umiyak. Okay, kasi daw, pagka umiyak, tinatawag na bakla. Okay? So, things like that. So, ano yung expectations of male? Ano ba yung ina-expect natin out of male? That they are strong. They don't cry. Di ba yung mga ganong stereotypes? Okay? They should provide for the family. Ito yung ina-expect of our society. And then, femininity, what is expected of females? Okay? In some culture, it is expected na sila yung mag-aalaga. Nag-stay sa bahay, hindi nagtatrabaho, di ba? What else? Sila yung gumagawa ng gawaing bahay. So, yun yung difference. Another difference is, again, yung sex is biologically determined by our genes, by hormones. So, anong hormones ang meron sa male? Anong hormones ang meron sa female? So, sa male, we have the X and Y chromosomes. Sa female, we have the X and X chromosomes. Okay, so it was determined by our genes and our hormones and our genitals. Okay, sa gender naman, pinag-aaralan to or itinuturo sa atin. It's learned and perpetuated primarily through family, education, religion, and is an acquired identity. Saan ba tayo natuto na dapat, ano ba yung mga expectation? Saan ba tayo tinuruan na dapat ang babae ay naglalaba, ang lalaki ay dati nagsisibak ng kahoy? Diba? Sa bahay pa lang may ganun na. Sa school, for example, I don't know if it's still applicable sa inyo. Pero when I was in elementary, ang babae ang magwawalis, ang lalaki ang mag-igib. So nakikita nyo, dun pa lang, meron na tayong mga roles na tinuturo sa atin or we learned through school. Okay? Religion, 'di ba? Ang babae ay magpapasakop sa lalaki or things like that. Acquired siya because we learn them from the society. Okay, and lastly, na difference, yung sex is relatively fixed or constant through time and across culture. So, relatively, compared with gender, mas fixed siya, mas constant siya. Hindi siya basta-basta nagbabago. Although may mga changes na nangyayari ngayon. Okay? Kasi pwede ka na magpa-sex change. Pero aside from that, if pinanganak kang babae with a vagina, unless magpa-operate ka, hindi siya magbabago. Or magpa-opera ka, hindi siya magbabago. On the other hand, when we talk about gender, it's socialized. So, pwede siyang magbago in time. So, iba yung gender roles nung, sabihin natin, nung sa mga grandparents natin. Iba yung expectation sa kanila. At iba na rin yung gender roles ngayon sa panahon natin. Dati hindi nagtatrabaho ang babae, ngayon nagtatrabaho ng babae. So, it can change through time. And iba't iba rin siya across cultures. So, magkakaiba sa iba't ibang bansa. Okay, so that's the difference between sex and gender. Sexual orientation is a different thing than gender identity. Magkaiba sila. Pero, ano yung pinagkaiba nila? Yun yung iisa-isahin natin dito. First, sexual orientation. Ano ba yung sexual orientation? When we say sexual orientation, it refers to a person's sexual and romantic interest to either people of the opposite sex or people of the same sex. And when we say sexual orientation, it's a spectrum. Bakit natin sinabing spectrum? Kasi hindi lang siya A, B, C, D. Hindi lang siya certain points. Meron pang sexual orientation between A and B, for example. Okay. Pero with sexual orientation, we're talking about kanino ka interesado. Interesado ka ba sa people of the opposite sex? Kung babae ka, interested ka sa lalaki? O interested ka sa same sex? Babae ka, interested ka sa babae, lalaki, interested ka sa lalaki? Or both? Interested ka to both sex? Okay. So that's sexual orientation. So there are different sexual orientations. The first is heterosexual. And that's the most common. Okay. When we say heterosexual, interested ka, or sexually and romantically interested ka to people of the opposite sex. Okay, you're interested, gaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, if you're a girl or you're a woman, you're interested to a man. So, yun yung heterosexual. Next, we have the homosexual. Meaning, you're attracted to and interested in a relationship with people of the same sex. Male and male, female and female. So, under homosexual, we have different types. Okay, or different categories. Parang pangat pakinggan ng types. The first one we have is lesbians. So, kung babae, parang babae yung partner, we have lesbians. Familiar naman na kayo dito. If we're talking about males, okay, they are called gay. Although in some cases kasi, gay, parang naging umbrella term siya. A female can be called gay if she's interested with a female. Okay? Pero kung mag-very specific tayo, for men, gay, for women, lesbians. Next, we have bisexual. Okay, so heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual. From the term itself, bi, meaning you're interested or attracted to both men and women. Ibig sabihin, gusto mo silang maging karelasyon. Okay, and it is very important to note yung nakalagay dun sa photo. The moon has phases. Bisexuality does not. Bakit? Kasi in some cases, sabi ng tao, it's just a phase. Ngayon, interested ka sa lalaki, that's your phase. Next time, interested ka sa babae, that's a phase. That's not a phase, okay? It's their sexuality. Hindi siya panapanahon. Okay? They are interested in both. Sana malinaw. So, if I explained something incorrectly, please tell me para ma-correct ko. Just in case, di ba? Baka may na-misinterpret ako or anything. Now, let's proceed with gender identity. Ano ba yung gender identity? Gender identity is a person's internal feelings of being a woman, man, both, or neither. So, male and female. Ngayon, it's identified or defined by your genitals. Ngayon, gender identity is about your feelings. Feeling mo ba babae ka? Feeling mo ba lalaki ka? I mean, feminine, masculine? Okay? Pwedeng both? Pwede rin namang wala. Non-binary. Okay? So, that's gender identity. Hindi siya concern sa kung kanino ka interested. It's concerned about you. Ano yung feeling mo, gender mo. Okay? So, with gender identity, it can be expressed in many ways. Pwedeng sa pananamit. Okay? So, feeling mo, you're a guy, pero feeling mo, you're feminine. Okay, you dress as feminine. Okay, you wear dress, you wear palda, o kaya you wear makeup. Okay? Sa speech, paano ka magsalita? Activities, ano yung mga ginagawa mo? Hobbies and behavior. So, yun yung way to express. And we actually call it gender expression. How we express our gender. Merong mga tao na one day nakadress sila, o kaya I remember sa Eurovision ata to, singer from Europe na I forgot the name. Talaga nakadress siya complete with makeup and everything. Pero, may balbas siya. That's how he or she, actually dapat they daw. Okay? That's how they express themselves. Okay? That's their gender expression. Also, it's okay for any of these things to change at different times or in different situations. Depending on what feels comfortable. Kung saan ka komportable. Siguro ngayon, feeling mo you're feminine. Okay, so you're dressed in a feminine way. And in a period of time, nagbago yung feelings mo. Okay. Now you feel that you're masculine. So you dress in masculine way. You decide your own identity. Okay? Although may sineset kasi yung society sa atin, but at the end of the day, you decide your own identity. Gender. Okay, there are different gender. So sa gender, state of being, actually dapat masculine and feminine yan. And typically regarding to social construct rather than physical attributes. Okay? Transgender refers to someone who does not identify with the gender they were assigned at birth. So, ibig sabihin, pag transgender ka, pinanganak ka as female, pero feeling mo dapat ikaw ay male. So, you don't identify with the gender or with the sex you are assigned at birth. Cisgender, ibig sabihin, you identify with the gender or the sex you are assigned at birth. Non-binary naman refers to someone who does not identify as exclusively male or female. So, non-binary, you're not black or white, you're not 1 or 0. Okay, you don't identify to either male or female. Either, yung sayo. Gender fluid naman refers to someone whose gender identity changes over time from one end of the spectrum to the other. So, it changes. Okay. And genderqueer refers to someone whose gender identity falls on the spectrum between male and female. So, aside from that, marami pang different sexual identity and sexual orientation and gender identity. Meron pa tayong tatawag na pansexual and a lot of other things. The more we learn, the more we realize na marami tayong di alam about genders and sexual expression, sexual orientation. And what's important, class, is that we respect each other's expression, each other's feelings, okay? And that's what I want you to learn from this. So to summarize, ano ba yung pinagkaiba ng gender identity at sexual orientation? When we talk about gender identity, it's concerned about who you are. Sino ka ba talaga? Are you a boy, a girl, both, or neither? And how do you express that? That's gender expression. On the other hand, when we say sexual orientation, it's concerned on who are you interested in? Okay, kanino ka may gusto? Kanino ka nagkakagusto? Who you have a crush on? Okay, so yun yung pinagkaiba ng dalawa. Gender identity is about you. Sexual orientation is kanino ka nagkakagusto. In our next video, we will discuss our next topic, which is probably one of my favorite topic to discuss. At yun yung triangular theory of love. Paano ba natin masabing mahal natin ang isang tao? Okay, at anong klaseng mga love ang meron out there? So in our next video, we will discuss the triangular theory of love. So that's the end of our discussion. If you have questions, alam niyo na ang gagawin. You may email me at arceliaslarateresa@gmail.com. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening. Bye, class!